Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within.
Hey there, good morning everyone. We are so excited to be with you today. My name is Allyson Mancini and I'm a holistic nutritionist and I'm here with my amazing sidekick.
Hi, I'm Julietta, the magical PT. Welcome to Voices of the Goddess. We are here empowering women to become the goddesses that they are meant to be. And this week, I'm super excited that we are joined by Jaslin Martin. We had her mom on a while back, and now we get to have Jaslin. Welcome to our show. Thank you so much. And Jaslin is another person that filled in for someone that had to back out last minute. So we super appreciate you jumping in last minute like this. But please introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about what you do.
Okay, thank you, Julietta and Allyson. It's amazing to be in this space with you, and I love your podcast. I listened to a few yesterday after the invitation, and even during my mom's. It was beautiful to hear what you girls had to say and what other women had to say, and just bringing out the inner goddess into the world. So I am what I consider a womb priestess. And what that consists of is work with the goddess, the divine feminine aspect of source. Okay, so there's in my view of the world, there's source and then there's divine feminine source and divine masculine source, because we all have both within us. So I practice the female version of that because I feel like it's really missing in the world. So I'm bringing that back out. And what that consists of is working with women on sisterhood, bringing community to sisterhood, and getting people to see that doesn't have to be competitive. It could be a collaborative work. It could be all of us connecting, or what I call interweaving our wombs together to create and birth new earth at this stage, in this present moment. It's not something that's far-fetched or in the future. So what we do, and I say we because I have a co-founder. I'm a co-founder of Red Tent Goddess, which is a partner with Claudia Passetti. She hopefully will be on a future call. And we end up connecting women, getting them to connect to Mother Nature, connect to cyclical living, connect to their wombs, and the importance of understanding that you don't have to create fear or pain, or you don't have to put that into your womb. You can actually birth and create life from your womb. We do that unconsciously. And I'm sure we'll get into that in the future, but it's something that I love to talk about. And I appreciate the space to talk about what I love. Thank you.
I love how passionate you are about this. I think it's amazing. And I know you're young, so I think that is so great that you're going into something that a lot of people don't know about, don't talk about, don't understand. So I'm really happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Allyson.
And it completely taps into, I say this all the time, that the world has become so patriarchal, so masculine, and not in a good sense, but a lot of the feminist movement to try and shift out of that has actually come from masculine energy, and it's not really a solution. So bringing in that divine, sacred, feminine energy, that's what we need to heal the world. And it's not about male bashing. So many men think that, anything that's feminine is bashing the male, and it's really, bringing out that sacred feminine so that the divine masculine can also heal and be what it's meant to be. So there's no clash, no battle, male or female. It's blending it and making them both be at their highest good. So I appreciate anybody who is on that same wavelength.
Yes, exactly. So, I actually call myself an evolved feminist because I think feminist itself has been ruined throughout time.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into questions. And knowing what I know about Jaslin, I'm very curious to find out some of these answers. And of course, the first one, what is your superpower, or what would you choose it to be?
So I think my superpower, I like to say two, but really I think it goes under the same umbrella. of creating community. I'm very good at creating community. It's really easy for me to bring people together, and networking. And again, networking is creating that community and understanding unity, right? Unity is when you create community. I like to plug people in as if we were puzzle pieces, and like Julietta and Allyson, you guys are stuck in my list of people that I'm now going to connect you to, and just bring people out, because I know so many women that have so much to share and they don't have a platform for it. So since you girls do, that's a connection right there. And now you're going to have tons of people coming in. You're going to see your podcasts are going up. It's just how I work. Every time that I enter something new that I'm in love with, something that I can see is really changing the world, I show everyone and their mom, literally, especially my own mom, to the opportunity.
Yeah. And that's, we say that every woman has something to share, a value with other people. And I think another thing that I love about our show is the diversity that we have on the show. We've had, our youngest guest was 10. She 10, 11, 10.
Aww.
Yeah.
So
we had her on with her dad for Father's Day. It was super cool. But then we've also had, I think our oldest is someone in their 80s, and, everything in between, and every race, and it's just like, every woman has something to share. Even if you don't think you have something to share, just come on and be a guest, and we'll pull stuff that you have inside you that maybe you don't even know. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes too, like, we don't value enough. I know I've been guilty of it myself. Like, what do I have to share? What does anybody care? But everybody has something to share. And even if it's technically the same thing that someone else shared, you might present it in just a slightly different way that's going to be meaningful to someone that didn't get it when it was said another way. So yes, send us your people so that we can, and what do we just, I don't know what we're at recording here, but we just posted like our 37th podcast today. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, and there was like this brief moment. I'm like, are we going to run out of people to interview? And then I'm like, no, we're never going to run out of people to interview.
Definitely not.
So, all right. Our next question. And again, I feel like Jaslin's for sure going to bring us a new book, but what is a book that it's either your favorite book or a book that has greatly influenced you?
So I'm going to cheat a little bit. And the reason I'm going to cheat is because I sat down for hours and was having conversations with some of my favorite people about these two books. And in my life, we were just talking about, Allyson just came back from Utah before this podcast. And in my life, when I was heading to Utah and I started traveling the US, it started with me going on the airplane, reading a book called The Return of the Divine Sophia. By the time that I finished the airplane, I finished Return of the Divine Sophia. I was like in it, like, don't bother me. I am so in this book right now. And as soon as I finished that book, another opportunity came to read The Raw Material. Anyone read of that one? The Raw Material, The Law of One? Okay, so it's the Raw RA. So the Raw RA Material. And Return of the Divine Sophia is by Tricia McCannon. She is a mystery school goddess. She has literally traveled the world, gone through all kinds of initiations. She is a huge channeler. She talks about, have you guys ever talked about the Divine Sophia in Voice of the Goddess? So just to give you a little bit of background here, Gnostic came before Christianity, right? So Jesus technically was a Gnostic, not Christian, because Christian came after Jesus. So Gnostic, they believe in a woman that's called Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, which was also portrayed in Greek mythology, but it was way beforehand. And the Divine Sophia is the feminine aspect of Source that I was talking about earlier. And she goes through how every 2,000 years or so, Jesus and Mary Magdalene was also known as Sophia. Isis from Egyptian was Sophia being reborn into the earth. Jesus supposedly was Sananda being reborn into earth. So same as Osiris, same as so many people. Dionysus was another one, and Ariadne was another one. So like they all connect, these feminine and masculine aspects that have been coming into the world over and over again. And she shares, like I'm getting chills, she shares about that. And in the Return of the Divine Sophia, she's becoming a priestess. She had a dream about the priestesses of Isis, and she's like, I have no idea what this is. And then she ends up at a store, and she's staring at a statue of Isis, and she didn't even know that Isis existed until this moment. And someone comes up to her and says, oh, I see that you're interested in Isis. She's like, yeah, I had this dream about being a priestess of Isis, and I have no idea what that is. And the woman blinks and says, I am a priestess of Isis. Let me show you the way. So the entire book, it's a year and a day journey of becoming a priestess and what she learns during that process. And the raw material, just to give you the raw material, I couldn't pick one. The raw material is, I consider myself a wanderer and a light worker. And the raw material guides you on what being a wanderer and what being a light worker is, not just on Earth, but the entire, what they call super universe. So, and it's very interesting because it teaches you about the 7 dimensions. I hear all the time that we are in 3rd dimension, that we're heading into 4th or 5th dimension. And I never really understood that fully until I read the raw material. And it really goes into service to self entities and service to other entities, how we're here to make a choice on Earth, on what we wish to be. And I really see that constantly in life. So it was beautiful the raw material gave me information on things I already knew, but explained it in a way that I could relate with others and really understand where somebody else is if they understand the 7 dimensions, the choice, and so many other aspects. This is really beautiful. Wow. I'm complete with my books.
I knew she would. So like, kudos to Jaslin. You know, like everything else is like, yeah, I read that book. Yeah, I read that book. Yeah, I read the book. You come with not 1, but 2 books that I have not read. So awesome. And these sound like they could be fun book club books. So I don't know if you know, Jaslin, we do each month we pick a new book, and on Mondays we come in and we go through about a quarter of the book each week, and then on Mondays we come in and we talk about it, and we also invite our members to join us on the StreamYard here and talk with us. So if we get one of these books on the list, we're going to make sure we get you to come back and join us in the discussion of the book.
I will be happy to. I will say that Return of the Divine Sophia is a normal book size. The raw material is more of it's like triple the size of A Course in Miracles.
Ooh, yeah, we won't make that our book club book. We'll do that.
Yeah, it takes hours, but it does have a free book on L/L research. If you look up L/L research in the raw material, you'll find a free PDF online, and it's on Audible. So that's how we did it when we were driving throughout the US last year. We would just listen to the raw material, and it's wow. We're still we finished the book and we're kind of going through it again. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it because I don't understand a lot of that. So I'm very, very intrigued. I'm definitely going to have to check out those books. I think.
Well, I also feel like I want to read before, so for those who don't know, going to Egypt for my 2nd trip in November, and it's not too late to sign up for the trip yet. It is going to be over Thanksgiving. So if anybody is interested, comment below. And we had Mary, the Egyptologist, who is our tour guide, was on one of our earlier podcasts. But a lot of my time in Egypt last time was just downloading information from Isis and Hathor and Sekhmet and yeah, there's so much goddess energy over there. So definitely a cool place to connect with all of that. So
that's amazing.
But we need to keep moving on our questions. So our 3rd question is, what is your favorite self-care practice? Because we all know goddesses need to practice more self-care. We take too much care of everybody else and we forget ourselves. So we're going to make this a priority. So what's your self-care?
So I have a lot of self-care.
I am sure you do.
I have a lot. But I will say that my absolute favorite at this moment, and for the last, since around beginning of 2021, I've been doing this, is weaving. And this is a practice. Yeah. So I actually have, so this is a no count cross stitch, and this is the ultimate picture that I'm working on at the moment. This is like a few months project here. I'm like this much done, like this little corner right here, done. And I've been working on it for like a month already. And weaving connects me to my ancestors, connects me to the people that created red tent in the beginning, which I didn't even explain. So would your women know what red tent is?
Some might, and a lot probably don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give a small summary. So red tent is an ancient practice where women would connect and gather when they bled. And now we've done a modern twist to it where we have a new moon event, a full moon event, and we have a waning and waxing moon event where we can actually all connect throughout the month, throughout each moon cycle phase, and really be able to become sisters, share our stories. So the last full moon event that we did, it was sharing our first sexual experience. That was very entertaining. We had some very hilarious stories, some, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and some crying moments. And it was just so beautiful to see how each one of us have gone on in our life, whether we chose our first time or not. And it was just incredible to hold each other, to love each other, to be vulnerable with each other and share stories. I actually shared a story for the third time in my life that I just have never shared before in front of 20 plus women. And it was so incredible to release that and for my women to know why I ended up becoming a woo priestess and why that was important to me in my journey. And it was incredible. And sharing stories like this is part of Red Tent. And at the same time, when we would share, we would weave. We would all sit down and work on a project together or work on separate projects independently. And that weaving has brought in a sense of love, calmness, peace, a sense of weaving my future, a sense of what is it that I wish to weave at this moment in my life? How am I weaving this story that I'm sharing into my life, and what would I like to do with it? How am I bringing this into the future? What are my intentions for this? It creates a sense with your body. You know, have you ever said yes to something and then you shook hands, or someone says, if you're going to agree to this agreement, then stand up. When you bring your body into the practice, there's a higher level of understanding and true responsibility, integrity, commitment to it. So when I'm weaving and sharing a story in the red tent or just in my life, I start saying, how do I want to bring this more into my life? How do I want to bring this into the new earth? Do I want to bring this into the new earth? What does that look like? And I start asking myself questions while weaving. And it's become such a self-love practice. It's my number one at the moment.
That's so cool.
Really cool.
Thanks. I really recommend it. Cross stitch is the first one that I'd really recommend. There's like all kinds of different weaves.
So I attempted cross stitch back when I was right after I had our son. I was trying to make a cross stitch for him for his bedroom. And 23 years later, it still sits a quarter of the way finished. Maybe I need to pick it back up.
Well, what's interesting, you know, back in my 20s, I used to do a lot of cross stitch and needlepoint and knitting, and so I've done a lot of cross stitch and other needlework in my time, but I don't think back then like did I have the connection. But part of doing it was very meditative. It was very like calming and it's you know, creative, and there's so many valuable skills and rewards to doing it. So yeah, if it's something you haven't tried, give it a try.
You know, part of the reason I was doing it was because it was so calming. Yeah.
I realized it brings out my femininity.
Yeah.
Just
and I was trying to make
right.
And I was trying to make something handmade for my son, but that didn't go over so well. Now I have to pull back out.
Well, Well, if you think about it, as a woman, we birth things, right? That's literally what women do, femininity. So creating something, especially for your child, is a wonderful practice to practice femininity. So it's another thing on the list, right? Of the amazingness of weaving into your life.
Oh, you're going to make me want to go find something to needlepoint or weave again. Thanks, Jaslin.
You're welcome.
All right. And our final question is, and because we polled our audience before we started this, and, what did they want help and support with? And as busy women with so much that we have to do, the question is, how do you create accountability? How do you support yourself in doing everything that you intend to do?
Sisterhood. Period. And if somebody has never experienced sisterhood, I will elaborate. Co-creation in interweaving. When I say interweaving, it actually means to weave together, right? So interweaving our future together is extremely powerful. And in the Red 10 goddess that I work with with Claudia and so on and so forth, we create support sisters, or accountability sisters is another word for it. So sisterhood, and picking one sister to have a weekly call with and saying, okay, this is what I want to work on, this is what I'm doing, just someone to talk to in general, has been extremely powerful. Co-creating with my business partner, Claudia, is stunning, and I'm getting so much more done, and we're making more money than if we would have done it alone. And it's just so incredible. I'm sure you two understand. Allyson and Julietta, hello, right? Co-creation is absolutely amazing. And the last thing I'll add about accountability with myself versus having to talk to somebody else is the Law of Attraction Planner. And it's from freedommastery.com. My mom is also in love with this. I'm sure she mentioned it probably. And it's an amazing practice to sit down. As a feminine aspect, it's really hard for me to schedule things. But when I get to practice bringing in my divine masculinity, not my wounded masculinity, scheduling and balancing out my feminine and masculine energy with the Law of Attraction Planner, I get so much done. And I don't lose track of time, and I just don't lose myself in life.
So that's so interesting, because I used to use that planner years ago, but this was before, I wasn't in the place I am now. So I'm like, I think I need to go back and look at that again, because I did really like it, but I don't even remember why I stopped using it. But you're absolutely right. The sisterhood. I mean, listen, you just said it. You and your co-founder, you guys are doing more and making more money than you would have had you felt that you would have done alone. This is one of the reasons Julietta and I started the podcast together, was because we had the support and the accountability with each other. And if we have a day where we're frustrated or we don't know what to do next or whatever, we had each other, and we still do, to be like, okay, how should we move forward in this space? What should we do now? Kind of a thing. So I'm in agreement with you. I love that. Sisterhood and the planner. Perfect accountability. Love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm. I say 2 wombs are better than 1.
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh, all right. It is time for takeaways. And I'm excited because my takeaways are, I have 2 new books to read that, I'm like, not that there's not bound, endless books out there, but having, recommendation, it's just a different side of what I've already been looking at. So I'm looking forward to, There's almost like no words. It's like this energy floating around in my head about this. I'm excited to have something new, and also I think it will really help stimulate even more. The return to Egypt. Just my experience over there was so incredible, and I know it's not finished. I know there's more to come from that, and it definitely is tapping into the goddess energy over there, and so it's going to be exciting. Allyson, what's your takeaway?
Well, I think I kind of already said them, but it's definitely, I seriously have to look back into doing some kind of weaving or needlepoint, because I really did enjoy it when I did it. And actually, now that as we've been talking, I realized I actually started the needlepoint when I was pregnant with my son. And I was thinking of doing it because I was going to make this cute needlepoint. I was going to frame it and put it in his room, and it'd be something that I made while I was pregnant with him. And then I think obviously I never finished it. And then he was born, and then chaos ensues, and you're a mother now and you have children running around and there's no time for needlepoint. So I think that is one thing. And I got to go back and look at the law of attraction planner, because I'm like wondering why I stopped using it. But again, like I said, I was at a very different place than I am now when I was using it. Cause I think it had to be like 5 or 6 years ago that I first started using it. So yeah, thanks for that. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Jaslin, what's your takeaway?
Well, my takeaway is that I've been stuck on what to share if I were to do a Facebook Live video or anything like that. And you girls just gave me at least 4 topics or more to talk about. And I don't know why I've been stuck, why I've been feeling stuck about that. And another thing that I got was The Return of the Divine Sophia and The Raw Material. The Raw Material is a good book to start people off. Return of the Divine Sophia is more of like a level 4 out of 5, in my opinion. And it might not be the best place to start for someone that has never heard of being it's for someone that's heard of priestess and wants to learn more. Yes. For someone that has no idea and it's like whole new language, maybe not. So I thought about like for your book club as an example, and even for like I've been thinking about creating a book club or bringing in co-creating with somebody in the future on a book club, because it's one of my passions to share books, is also sharing about the dance of the dissident daughter. Do either of you know about that one?
No.
Cool. So the dance of the dissident daughter is a story of a woman that was a Christian woman learning about divine femininity and how she ends up switching from Christianity to a feminine spirituality and her journey in that sense. And it was like more in like I believe like 60s or 70s, 1960s, 1970s, I believe. That's a little older. And it's just a beautiful story. And her expression of it is like none other. Like I'd steal her quotes all the time from that book. And it's that one is a great book to share with anybody starting on the divine feminine path. So I get to be careful with the books that I share compared to like the level that I'm at, because a new person might be even more confused by that. And I get to share books that are more beginner level to begin with. Yeah,
that's cool.
That would be an interesting book, I think, because I grew up going to my parents. We were Methodist, and then when my children were small, my children went to Christian school, and I still, a lot of that is still very strong in my life. But I would find that book very interesting because I definitely, as I've gotten older, have moved more to the spiritual side and not so much that that hard
religion.
Yeah. And I think that there's like we're going to get into a whole conversation. I don't want to go there right now. We'll just stop.
That'll be for round 2.
We'll be round 2. Maybe next time we have Jaslin on, we'll get into that.
Sounds great.
So this has been an amazing, an amazing feminine podcast this morning. And we talked about a lot of stuff. So there's going to be if you're curious to find out more about the stuff that we talked about in the comments, in the show notes, you'll find links to be able to access all of the things we talked about, being able to get in touch with any of us and get in touch with Jaslin and find out more about her red tent. And if you like what you've heard today, please subscribe, like, and share this with your girlfriends. We need to all get out there and co-create together. Multiple wombs are better than one, so we need to all create more community and unity here. And it's fantastic. Have a magical day, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, Jaslin. Thank you.